Hi, good afternoon. I'm Lana. I'm one of the instructors at the beautiful BodyLife studio in Port Vale. I'm just going to take you through the three most important principles in Pilates, just so that when you train effectively and obviously very importantly safely. So in Pilates we talk about three big things. We talk about your spinal position, we talk about core activation, and then we talk about your breathing. So let's start with number one, spinal positioning. We train in two spinal positions, a neutral spine and an imprinted spine. Neutral spine is your safest spinal position. So our new clients or clients with back injuries or issues, often that's the position you'll keep coming back to, neutral. Imprinted, slightly more challenging for the body, where you imprint the spine, bring your legs into tabletop position. So the move is this: lying down on our carriage, bringing our backs down, popping our head onto our headrest, drawing our shoulders away from our shoulder blocks. We're going to take our feet, pop them on our hard platform. Our feet are going to be hip distance apart and our knees point towards the ceiling and they don't move. To find your neutral spine very easily, you're going to take your hands, pop the heels of your palm on the edge of your hip bones, draw your pointing fingers down towards your pubic bone and your thumbs up towards your belly button. Do you want to just show what it looks like? So you got a little diamond on your core area. All right, so with that diamond now, what we'd like to do is we'd like to sort of make that diamond level with your carriage or parallel to your carriage. So to do that, you're going to feel your tailbone. You're going to roll your tailbone up and down until you think you've got that perfect flat position with the diamond. Hold it there, nice and steady. Take one hand, and then you want to be able to take that hand and slide that hand slightly or underneath your lower back. Even you've got to push it a little bit. That means your spine is in neutral. All right, so that's your neutral spine, nice and easy, safe for the back. The spine just follows a natural curvature of the back, almost, basically. Your next position is your imprinted, slightly more challenging. What we do with our imprinted spine is we think about taking that belly button and scooping it down towards the spinal column. And as you do that, you'll actually feel your spine kind of press itself along your carriage. All right, now to perfect that move and to finish it, what we do is we imprint our spine, bring our legs up one at a time so there's no pressure on the back. And we draw our legs into a beautiful tabletop position. Perfect position is knees lining up with the hips, knees parallel to the hips, shins parallel to the floor, and toes pointed. All right, so we're just going to be careful. Often we train like this or like this, so we really want those shins parallel. If your back is uncomfortable here, you're welcome to bring your knees closer to your chest. All right, imprint the spine a little better. So that is your imprinted spine, tabletop legs, slightly more challenging. And any time if it's uncomfortable, you'll just roll yourself back down, find your beautiful neutral spine, and train in this position. The next thing we talk about is your breathing. So in Pilates, we talk about your T-zone. And the reason we call it a T-zone, activation of your T-zone for the core, is you're going to pretend you're going to draw an imaginary line from your pubic bone up to your belly button, and then another line from hip bone to hip bone. There's a big capital T. Should I stand up for this? Mm-hmm. There we go. Big capital T on your core area. Bottom part of that T is the pelvic floor muscles, and the top part is your transverse abdominal muscles. And your job for the whole 45 minutes that you train in BodyLife is to keep that T-zone or that core engaged. How do you do that? We start with the pelvic floor first, and to activate your pelvic floor, all you have to think about in your mind is try and stop yourself from going to the toilet. So quieten your mind, draw on those muscles, and as you tighten those muscles, you'll almost feel that lower part of your pelvic floor lift. All right, you want to hold that. And then not let that hold go. On top of that, you want to think about taking the muscles in between your hip bones and drawing those hip bones in towards your belly button. So there's a double hold, pelvic floor, transverse abdominals. Now if you take one finger and you tap your belly button, you should break your finger. All right, your T-zone's locked into place. And then that's how you train. So with every exercise, we'll always give you a breathing pattern. We'll say inhale, engage your T-zone, you'll do the pelvic floor, then the transverse abdominals, and then you'll exhale and you begin the exercise with us. But we'll cue you through that, so you'll be reminded of your breathing continuously. Your T-zone connection. And the final thing we talk about in Pilates is your breathing. So in Pilates, we take an inhale through the nose, and then we open our mouth and we push that air out. And then don't get caught up if in the beginning you're exhaling and we're saying inhaling. The most important thing always is first your spinal position and then your core. And then with your breathing, when you do sort of recognize that you can do it, you want to inhale through your nose, and you don't want to inhale up into your shoulders, and you don't want to inhale into the hollow part of your belly. What you want to do is you want to inhale and direct that oxygen into the sides of your lungs, and you want to make sure when you inhale, those lungs go long, so they narrow long, and that breath sort of funnels down the side of your rib cage. And when you exhale, you open your mouth and you just pretend you're pushing that air out through a straw. So it's just a gentle as you push out, and that'll help engage transverse abdominals as well, as you let all that oxygen back out of the body. And that's really your 3 most important principles. And if you get that right, you know, you're on the road to success already.